Views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Welcome to one more show of the Table Topics. I was just doing a show with Linda, so I was still clicking on the Portuguese there. I forgot to switch it back to English. And welcome, John. Hi, John. How are you doing?
Good. How about yourself?
Okay. Hey, first of all, I'm very sorry for the passing of your mom. Did you have the services already?
It's kind of weird, this environment we're in now. She wanted to be cremated, so, you can't really do anything. People can't come. You can't have a mass at the church because all that stuff's closed down. So yeah, we're going to do something as a family later on, go out to a nice meal or something to that effect. So yeah, it's just a different environment now, unfortunately, with all this stuff going on now, So it's good and bad,
Yeah, but I mean, we know that your mom had different issues, right? She had other issues besides COVID-19.
Yeah, like everybody. I mean, a lot of folks in these different places have numerous issues. Don't get me started on the whole COVID-19, Carlos.
That's what we're here for.
Oh boy, here we go.
Because, well. And that's the question that a lot of people, and that's where a lot of people are divided, is a lot of people passing from other causes and being just signed off as COVID-19.
Yeah,
that's an example with your mom. She had other problems, but then finally, about a month ago, she got the virus.
Yeah.
So what did you call it? That she passed from other issues, or she passed from COVID-19?
Yeah. It's all to me. It's all somewhat of a money scheme right now because that's what they're putting down on people's death certificates. They can't make a determination when people have multiple issues going on, but they're going with the fail-safe of COVID-19. My whole issue with this whole thing is that they were sending people back to nursing homes that were positive with this disease, just like they did in New York State. And New York State had issues and they were going after them, and they were doing that, and pretty much all in New England. All the New England states, I believe, are doing that. So this is so deadly. Why weren't we testing the healthcare workers beforehand? Family members are not allowed to go to these nursing homes. Why weren't we testing these people? They're the most, they're not equipped to fight different diseases because they're all in a different area and a lot of them have health problems, I'm sure. So why weren't we testing and looking at a lot of these things? And we weren't. I think in Massachusetts right now, 61% of the COVID cases are in nursing homes and the deaths. So, I think that's something that needs to definitely be looked at. And, that it just, I don't know. To me, it makes it worse. They're making it sound worse than what it is. If we were supposed to be looking out for the people that are more affected by this, why weren't we looking at those nursing homes? And,
well, one thing they fail to, I guess, to get prepared. I think if this happens again, I think the nursing homes, they're gonna probably act different. Well, because the excuses now is a person goes to the hospital, like your mom, went to the hospital and she got it positive, and then she was sent back to the nursing home because that's her home.
Yeah.
That's why she went back to the nursing home. So what I think they have to prepare for the future, and probably for the second round they're talking about that's going to come back, is not to send them back to the same place, send them back to a safer place. So I know that's her home, but because she was sick, she needs to be treated first before she was sent home. So I think that's one part that are failing terrible for the elderly. And that's why we're seeing a lot of elderly passing, is because these people go back and now you're going to infect other people that were not sick before,
Exactly.
So just like they did with the hospitals in here in Fall River, if you get the virus, you go to Martin.
Yeah. Well, Charlton has some cases too there.
Yes,
believe it or not, they do.
but no cases. It's no cases in St. Anne's.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
every case that goes to St. Anne's, they automatically send them to Morton because there is the people that are treating the virus. So I think with this nursing rooms, it's the same thing. Let's identify one nursing room, two nursing rooms that are treating the virus, and everybody on the nursing rooms that get affected, they are sent to those for treatment, not going back to their homes to infect now all the other residents on that property. I think that's something that they need to work on.
Well, you think? I'm not being a wise guy, but the hospital, the field hospital at UMass Dartmouth that they spent probably millions on, not one person was seen there. Same thing at the field hospital in Cape Cod, not one person was seen there. Why didn't they bring people there?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's just a big mess. And you got somebody like Governor Cuomo is blaming it on the current administration. He said that was the guidance we followed. Well, that's interesting because the state of Florida didn't use that same guidance. They didn't send people back to the nursing homes. So it's this whole political crap that's going on that you can't really trust what is being said sometimes. I believe, what is the old saying? I believe half of what I see and none of what I hear. Because I called like offices up in the state and some people didn't even know. And then they said, let me send you. And the other people knew, yeah, we're doing that. But other people didn't know. So it's just ridiculous, but
yeah. And then comes the decision, and then comes the mixed. It's something that really is bothering me is the government usually don't get mixed with religion. So why is science getting mixed with politics? Yeah. It's something that makes no sense, And now we are all divided, and guess what? The hate is unbelievable, and both sides. I'm not defending the Democrats or defending the Republicans. It's in both sides. It's like they want to fight for every little thing, and they all want to prove they're right. But guess what? When you try to prove that you're right, you're wrong right there.
But Carlos, you got to look at this. This is the way I look at it. Whoever's in charge is in charge. When people are in charge, you don't try to undermine the person that's in charge right now. When we had 9/11, it was a Republican in. Nobody undermined that. They just, this is what we're going to do to solve the issue. Now they're trying to do every little thing they can undermine. And I think that's ridiculous and it's un-American. I mean, if you're doing this for politics to become in power again, then that's sad. That's a sad state of affairs for our country, if that's why you're doing it.
And we I said this before, we are not walking into better days, because the choices that we have right now, it's not everybody's happy. When you have a hard time deciding, what's right and what's wrong. Right now, it's like, we are very divided, and for this country, it's dangerous.
Yeah, well, any country.
The division on other countries, it's like they can deal with because they don't have the rules to follow. In America, we have a rule of law that doesn't matter what side you are, you need to follow that rule of law. And I think that's because of that people can get their feet on the fire.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
That we get all this division and the hate. It's like unbelievable. Now every week you have a hate crime. It's unbelievable.
yeah. Well, I mean, some of the stuff is sensationalized too. You know what I mean? Because how many people are killed a day? You know what I mean? If we showed every time something happens to someone every day, it'd be ridiculous. You know? So some of this, the media loves to sensationalize. I'm not justifying anything that happened with these last two cases. They were both ridiculous. They were stupid. They shouldn't have done what they did. But the media will plaster that all over the place. But they won't show that maybe 10 other people died in a different circumstance similar to that, but they were a different race. And it's ridiculous. You know what I mean? That only creates more dissension.
And the media is the same thing. The media is the same thing.
Yeah,
when the Democrats have a problem, you put the Democrat channel on and they're beating up in a different issue. Only the Republicans are talking about the problem because it was a Democrat problem. And when it's the Republican, it's the other, it's vice versa. So it's like the media, but the media was always, you always had a media going against something and promoting something different. It was always like that. We had presidents before that, even during the 9/11, he got criticized for so much stuff.
Yeah, but it's not anywhere like it is now. Nowhere like it is now. Not at all. You know what I mean? The Bushes and the Obamas are friends, and the Clintons, all of them. So it's nothing.
Well, probably just because they were not taking positions as this president do. They probably will not get under the skin. Oh, you have a dog there.
Yeah, he's here. Sorry.
And mine just opened my door too. So, so I think that's something that makes this thing even worse is when the president probably don't use the right words sometimes.
A lot of other people.
And he's good for it.
Well, and there's a lot of other politicians that are running for office now that don't say nice things either. And they're not held to the same standard. They're not held to the same standard.
Yeah, but guess what? But two wrongs don't make one right.
I agree.
And we always looking for the right person. When we vote for somebody, we vote for the right person, not to commit the same crimes that the other one did. I mean, this even can happen done here and in Fall River.
Oh, I agree. But you know what, Carlos? I'd rather you be upfront with me, and you may use some language that I don't really particularly care for, and do something as opposed to basically, you know what I mean? Yep. Yeah, as opposed to basically not, not talking nice and not doing anything, and that's the issue I have. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So
for a minute, we had a visit from Steve there.
Yeah, no problem. I just tried to go over it. Yeah, he just wanted to talk a little bit, but he got quiet there. So yeah, no big deal.
So,
hi guys, Zoom dropped out on my end.
Yeah, no, not a problem.
Not a problem.
Keep going. We're good.
Cool.
Okay.
So
that happens with when we try to do things from the house, not from the studio.
Yeah.
But anyway, citywide, John, what we have going on in the city of Fall River, this beautiful city that everybody, it's on the same boats. Everybody agrees with everything.
Yeah.
So what's going on in Fall River?
Well, I want to commend the administration and the folks that participated in the that rolling parade. It was really nice. Actually, I was lucky because they went right by my house, so we had the front row view. But it was really nice. I think it did bring people's spirits up because, let's face it, it was Memorial Day weekend, but you really couldn't do what you've done in the past. The beaches, I don't know if they were open on Memorial Day, but 2 days prior they weren't open. You can't even go there to walk around. So it was nice to see something, different. Because just like I said, you really can't do a lot now, So
Opening on the openings, what do you think that the city is gonna see now this next phase?
I'm not really disappointed in what the city, I think the city is trying to follow the state's rules, but I think some of these rules are just totally ridiculous. So you got you got all the New England states, right? That all depend on tourism. I believe the state of Maine, they're opening their hotels as of June 1st, but only to people that live in Maine. Same thing with like Rhode Island, Massachusetts. You have to live within the boundaries. So when are they going to open? Are they going to open them in July, August? That's all this tourist area time period for the Cape, Maine, New Hampshire, all these areas. You're going to kill the tourist industry,
Well, if I'm from Fall River, I'm not going to rent a hotel in Somerset.
Yeah, exactly. And it's same. It's
For
vice
what?
versa in Maine.
To look out of the window?
It's vice versa in Maine. So, or New Hampshire, you know what I mean? It just doesn't make any sense to me. It's warm out. Anything you have, they've said that the virus dies in the sun. You know what I mean? And in the weather, it doesn't do good. So like people are going to be out. Let them go out. Let them go to the Cape. Let them go to the beach. They've, and that's what, to me, that's the miscommunication that they're telling you, that if it gets on your skin, it doesn't last that long, but don't go to the beach because you're going to be around people. Well, if it goes away real quick, who cares if you're like 5 feet or 2 feet from someone, right? So the messages that you get are really depending on who you talk to,
Well, and again, all this mask thing is just because people are not using their common sense and they have to be told what to do. Because I can be talking to you, okay, 10 feet apart and not only the mask.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just common sense that people are not using by themselves and they need to be taught what to do. It's the same thing when you go into a grocery store. You need to disinfect the car that you're going to use. You need to wash your hands when you get home. This is just things that we would be getting for granted all this time. But it's all stuff that makes sense for you to do it on your regular routines. So guess what? If you're not doing it, that's why they after you for you make sure you do it.
Yeah.
Okay?
Well, Carlos, that with the mask is very misleading. Up until a month ago, you didn't have to wear a mask. The director, Fauci, actually said it a month or two back that said, the mask's not going to protect you against anything. Don't worry about it. Don't wear them. They're not going to protect you. Then all of a sudden, a month later, everybody should be wearing masks to protect. It's not for you. It's to protect other people. So when you get these missed messages, it doesn't make you feel confident in what you're hearing and what you're being told.
But the mask is not either you have a very good mask that's going to cost you money and it's going to protect you 99%. But all these masks that we're doing, it's not even from a surgery mask. This is a regular mask. So what this is going to do is if you're going to cough, if you're going to sneeze, that's going to prevent and it's going to stop the virus from going on the air. Why? Yeah. Because when you cough, you're supposed to cough on your arm. Yeah. Again, if you've been using common sense, you didn't need the mask. Yeah. But we've been told like kids now. Before you go to eat, you need to wash your hands. After you do your market, you need to get home and wash your hands. To me, it's just common sense that if you do it, you low down the probability to get it or to get somebody else get it. How many times you wake up in the morning and you feel like, I have a runny nose and my throat's not feeling good, but I'm going to take my Advil and I'm going to work. Right there, it's a sign that you should not go to work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Then you go to work and guess what? You have now out of 10 people that you work with, 4 are homesick the next week. Why? Because you were infected. You infected 4 more of your co-workers. It's common sense. It's
Yeah.
common sense. But
I agree.
we're just
I
going
agree
to
with you.
fight bags and we're going to just fight with masks and gloves and this and that just because we're not using our common sense.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, when you get missed messages in the beginning, they tell you you don't have to do it. It's ridiculous. Don't do it. And then a month later, they tell you you need to do it. People kind of don't believe. They lose confidence in the advice they're getting. So that's all I'm saying. You know.
And the masks, it's like we've been told that to protect the others, it's not to protect us. But guess what? On the masks, remember that when we breathing, we taking things out of our system that's not good. It's like when you smoke,
Yeah.
the fume that comes out, it's not good. That's why you put it out. So when you have the mask over your face, you are breathing what you're putting out, which is not supposed to be good.
Okay. But it's okay to give it back to yourself then, is what you're saying.
Exactly. So what's going to happen now? I mean, in the meantime, you know something? People's going to get sick. I'm not saying now, but wait 6 months. Wait 6 months, you're going to see, because of the masks, how many people are going to get really sick because they are breathing with stuff they're not supposed to be breathing.
Yeah. So that all comes back to exactly what do you do? Like now, everything was shut down, okay? So they've already said in the state of Massachusetts, they've had more suicides this year, so far this year, than they had all of last year in 2019. Okay, so you have 5,000 or 6,000 people that have died. 6,000 say that have died from this virus. We already know that suicides have gone up. Like, what else is going to go up? People weren't able to go to their doctors because the doctors were closed, so they didn't want to see them. How many people are going to be affected by heart disease, cancer, and all these things because they couldn't get in to see the doctor? It's going to be weighed, and unfortunately, they're not weighing that way. When you listen to the media, it's like, oh my God, they lost 100,000 people. We lose 7,000 people a day in this country. Mm-hmm. I think it might even be more than that. But, you know, you figure, say it's 7,000 to 10,000 people a day just from regular stuff. And 100,000 people have died in 3 months.
But this is something new, you know, this is something new. This is something new, some new numbers that were not there before that we adding into those numbers that you just mentioned.
But Carlos, how many people have died that were going to die because they had other conditions and this China just pushed it, or it was there at the same time? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's the issue I have. You just got to read. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to the media. Read a whole bunch of sources, and you make up your mind yourself. You got to look at everything and look at it yourself. Don't believe anybody.
You have to read from the right places too, because Facebook is full of junk.
Oh, Facebook, I don't even...
It's all junk. And it's unbelievable. People actually sharing, you know, those informations. It's like, this is trash. Well, this is the first page of a paper that is struggling to survive, and they just want to put a good lie on the first page, so the paper can fly out of the shelf, and they're going to have another week for a paycheck. That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, exactly. I wonder if we have a lot of time left. What do we got? Another 15 minutes, you think?
I think we have another 10.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to talk. Have you ever heard of General Flynn?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So General Flynn, now we got some information that's coming out. Now, General Flynn is from Middletown, Rhode Island. So we're getting some information that came out that during this whole Russiagate thing, that the FBI went over to talk to General Flynn because they guess they were tapping his phones, and he was talking to a Russian diplomat. Which you're coming in as a new administration, right? Can't you talk to the people that you're going to be dealing with in the next 2 weeks? But it looks like they kind of, spied on him with his phone, and they knew that he talked to this guy, this Russian diplomat there. So what did they do? We have Mr. Comey that came out and said, we just went over there. Normally we would consult with the administration, but they were so new, so we just did it. So the FBI notes that the FBI went in there, they basically said, are we going to get him to lie, or are we going to get him fired? And lo and behold, that's what happened with Flynn. Flynn was kind of pushed to do whatever. He lied. He admitted it. And basically all this stuff went out. This guy has lost his home in Virginia. He's probably lost his house in Middletown. They ruined his good name, all for what? And when you listen, you only listen to maybe one channel that'll talk about it. Fox talks about it a little bit, but when I look at other things online, they'll talk about it more. Why isn't that this is how this country has treated a war hero, basically? Why? You know what I mean? And when you talk to people, I'm amazed how many people around here don't even have a clue. You know what I mean? Like about this issue. I'm baffled that people don't even understand this is what happened to this man, you know? But if you look at CNN, they're like, well, he lied. He lied. Why? So can you imagine the DOJ says they have this case because they were the ones that were pushing this against Flynn. The DOJ drops the case and the judge says, no, you can't drop that case. So can you imagine the people that are going after the person saying, we're dropping the case against you, and the judge says, no, you can't do that. Mm-hmm. And then hires an attorney to defend his opinion on this. Absolutely crazy. This is the kind of stuff that happens in Banana Republic somewhere. And this is happening in this country, and people they can't even see the forest through the trees, because if they're a Democrat or they're liberal, they hated Flynn because he worked for Trump. Well, newsflash, Flynn worked under Obama. He was a Democrat. Mm-hmm. And now since he worked under, then he was going to get a job under Trump. All of a sudden, terrible. You know what I mean? He's bad. You know what I mean? Orange Man's bad, and so isn't General Flynn.
Politics.
And this is, it's sad that this kind of thing,
politics,
I would never think would ever happen in this country in my whole life. But this has happened here, and it's not a big deal. They talk about Watergate. Just this story with General Flynn, a war hero. This is how we treated this man.
Another 4 years of Trump will fix it?
I don't know. No, nothing's ever going to fix what they did to General Flynn. Nothing's ever going to, other than him being able to get some money back for him losing his house, but all the stuff that he was put through, how is that even possible? Nobody can ever bring that back. But what was that for? What was that all about? You destroy people. You destroy people's lives for what means and at what end?
Well, we have like 3 minutes. So at this point, we are 6 months from the election.
Yep.
You still think that you got this?
I don't know. I mean, who knows what's going to happen? I mean, we have the other person that's running, and he's telling a black man that if you don't vote for him, you're not black enough. I mean, so who knows? I mean, if people aren't outraged about that, Carlos, I don't know what to say.
Well, and I heard, and this is from Mr. Trump, if you're black, you have nothing to lose voting for me.
Well, I mean,
it's the same thing. It's politics.
It's not the
John,
same.
it's politics.
Carlos,
if I'm black and I hear a guy running for president telling me, I mean, you have nothing to lose, vote for me. Why? Why do you think that I don't have? Can I be a doctor? Can I be somebody too? Just because I'm black, I have no choice. I have no other choice.
That's not the issue. The issue is they looked at the statistics. The guy that did that interview with Joe Biden says he wants his candidate to have a black agenda. So there is no difference in that, but he's telling him that you're not black if you don't vote for him. That's just ridiculous. If Trump would have used those same words, or a Republican, or even an independent, if would have said those same words, the media would have been on it night and day. Night and day they would have been on it. It would have never ended. It would have never ended.
John, that's our show for today. Okay. We didn't have a chance. We didn't have a chance to talk about our budget. It's on the table, and it's a lot for us to talk about on this next budget. Exactly. So until next week, John, again, have a good week, and thank you for being in here with me for half an hour, and see you next week.